If it's Friday, it must be If Then. And if it's the last Friday in the month, it must be new releases. But hey, Leaf Sonata, I appreciate your continued support. I love you and Zoe's and Selena's and Trudy continued daily support, comments, feedback. I really, really appreciate. You guys are the only ones that talk to me. I so much appreciate it. Put that over there. So, anyways, it's Friday. It's new releases. This has got to be If Then 70 something. I have no idea. I'll have to go double check. But anyway, for July, so excited for some of these. And there was one, and I'm sorry I didn't write it down. I didn't even bring it over here. I was going through the list, and I came across this one author that doesn't even exist on Amazon. I was like, oh, oops, sorry for her. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. So, first up, oh, by the way, this is the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Carreras, TNA. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smashy stuff going on here. And if you could please subscribe, I'd appreciate it greatly. One of my favorite authors, if you have not seen my video on the Patriot thread, please go watch that video. It's over in the corner. It's an old one. Steve, and I keep telling myself I'm gonna do the font bigger, and every video I screw up and don't do it. Steve Berry, The List. After a 10-year self-imposed exile, Brant Walker is returning home to Concord, a quaint town in central Georgia nestled close to the Savannah River. 2 years ago, his father died, and now Brent, hired by Southern Republic Pulp and Paper Company as his assistant general counsel, is returning to care for his ailing mother. For decades, Southern Republic has invested heavily in Concord, creating a thriving community where its employees live, work, and retire. But the genteel sheen of the quiet town is deceiving, and when a list of cryptic code surfaces, Brent starts to see cracks. Southern Republic's success is based largely on a highly unorthodox and deadly system to control costs, known only to the three owners of the company. Now one of them, Christopher Bosin, has a change of heart. Brent's return to Concord and move Bosin personally orchestrated provides his conscience with a chance at redemption. So a plan is set in motion, one that will not only criminally implicate Bosin's two partners, but also place Brent Walker squarely in the middle. Not good. Not good at all. Not good at all. Book 2. If you haven't seen my video on Black authors, please go check that out. She shows up twice. She shows up in Black authors, and then she shows up in lawyers. So she shows up in 2 of my videos of my if-thens. Stacey Abrams, Coded Justice. Former Supreme Court clerk Avery Keene is back, trying to put the past behind her at a prestigious high-end law firm in Washington, D.C. Heading down and focused on a new life, Avery is now working as an internal investigator when a high-profile client seeks her out. Kamaska Enterprises has a big problem and a short runway. The tech company has developed a new integrated AI system poised to revolutionize the medical industry. To prove its potential, Kamaska's charismatic founder, retired Major Rafe Diaz, has picked a complicated target, delivering cutting-edge healthcare to fellow veterans. The potential is staggering, but their prototype has been plagued by a series of disturbing anomalies, including the mysterious death of the engineer. Okay.
Christina, here is your reminder. Give Edward cleaning supplies.
Book 3. Linda Costello, Rage. Summer has arrived with a vengeance in Painter's Mill. A macabre discovery of 3 Amish children bring the quiet to a grinding halt. Chief of Police Kate Burkholder arrives on the scene to find the dismembered body of a 20-year-old Sam Eicher, a local Amish man who owned a successful landscaping business. What twisted individual murdered him in such a sadistic way? The investigation has barely begun when Miles away, a second body is found, stuffed in a barrel and dumped in a ravine. The deceased is a 20-year-old Aaron Shelter, Samuel Eicher's best friend. So why did somebody murder two best friends? To find out, Vicky Delaney. We do the Sherlock Holmes series. Yes, ma'am. Did you want to come up? Well, yes or no? Are you coming up? Yes or no? Come here. Come here. Good Lord, you're getting heavy. You need to go on a diet. You need to go on a diet. Smoke. Alright, and she also does. Is it her? Does a pet one too? It might be her. There's quite a few of them that do the pet ones, but there's. I forget. I'll have to look. This seems like a new one for her though. Tea with Jam and Dread, Vicky Delaney. Tea by the Sea Mysteries. Long ago, Lily's grandmother Rose worked as a kitchen maid in the Thorn Castle, and now Elizabeth Dowager Countess of Throckmorton is celebrating her 100th birthday. Rose still has fond feelings for her one-time employer, so a group trip to Yorkshire is planned. It is also an opportunity for Lily to visit her boyfriend, who is currently working in England, and to indulge in some British tea. Excuse me. No, working on keyboard. Much has changed, however, and the ancestral home is now a luxury hotel, which will be closed for a week to accommodate the Big Bash. Much to the chagrin of Elizabeth's grandson Julian, Lily, come here. What is up with you? What is up with you? I'd only have no. See what happens there. Who gets murdered? Much to the chagrin of Elizabeth's grandson Julian, leading Lily to overhear an argument among the younger generation about the fate of his family fortune. Little do they know that Elizabeth plans to sell the famous Throckmorton sapphires out of the family for the first time in centuries. And a party guest dies of allergies. Or was it murder? I'll have to check that out. A lady we have read on this channel. What, you want to come back up now? Death in the Librarian, Victoria Gilbert. Library director Amy Muir has always been suspicious of wealthy art dealer Kirk Kendrick, as a close family friend. That ties that bind them are strong, but his murky past is concerning, especially since he is the godfather to Amy and her husband Richard's 6-year-old twins. When a visitor to their small historic Virginia town is found dead after publicly accusing Kurt of committing a decades-old murder, Amy is determined to prove that Kirk didn't kill anyone in the past or the present, but the evidence Kirk's accuser sent to Sheriff Brad Tucker before her untimely death indicates otherwise. Oops. Bad Luck Bride, Laura Lee Gerke. And you know, all these ladies show up in Flashback Monday. So, I mean, these ladies are nothing new to me. They're in Flashback Monday. They've been around a while. They're successful writers. So you need to check out Flashback Monday if you want to know what they started to do early in their career. Bad Luck Bride, Laura Lee Gerke. In this dazzling Victorian romance from a New York Times bestselling author, one unlucky lady believes her fate is finally changing until the rake that broke her heart returns to town. For Lady K. Matheson, it had better be. Her first engagement was failed elopement, the second ruined by gossip, and the first reigned to be a disgraced spinster. No one is more surprised than Kay when an American millionaire offers for him. Just when she's convinced she finally make it down the aisle, the scoundrel who broke her heart arrives with his own fiancée. Miss Caroline Bingley, private investigator. Kelly Gardner. 2 years after her brother Charles Bingley wed Miss Janet Bain, Miss Caroline Bingley is visiting her brother's country estate near Pemberley, the home of their best friends, Mr. and Mrs. Darcy. Restless and out of sorts, Caroline wonders if there's more to life than playing cribbage and paying calls on country neighbors. Yeah, changing your clothes for every single meal. What was up with that? When Georgiana's maid, Jenny, disappears and Georgiana sets off to find her, Caroline's race to find them in London, where she stumbles on a shocking cold-blooded murder. See what happens. Carved in Blood, Michael Bennett, a Hannah Westerman thriller. When Detective Inspector Jane Hamilton stops at Auckland Liquor for a bottle of champagne, it is supposed to be celebratory. His daughter Addison has gotten engaged. Instead, he is suddenly gunned down at the register by a Bavla-clad assailant in what appears to be a random act. The getaway car is quickly recovered, obtaining the cell phone of the young man, Tory Davis, who is immediately the object of an all-out police search. Man, I hate that stuff. You just happen to stop someplace on the way home from work and die? Something Whiskered. Cats in the Stacks are Miranda James. Charlie Harris and his wife Helene Louise Brady have arrived in Ireland for their honeymoon. After a few days in Dublin, they head to County Clare, ancestral home to Helen Louise's extended family, the O'Brady's. Her cousin Lorcan runs Castle O'Brady as a bed and breakfast with his wife Camille and their daughter and son-in-law. But upon arrival at the castle, the newlyweds are shocked to see a body falling. Somebody jumped off the roof? Or were they pushed? Inquiring minds want to know. Blood and Treasure, Ryan Pote. The International Space Station suddenly loses contact with Earth. When a NASA tech devises a way to restore the feed, the images that come through are unfathomable. A scene of violence, the crew unresponsive, drops of blood hovering in zero gravity. But which of the astronauts on board has done the thing and why? It's one of those closed room situations. We just read that book a couple months ago. That library book with all those people were in the basement of the library locked in overnight. It's just, not for me. No. We did read, I had started this series and I don't know what happened. I don't remember. I know I did the first 1 or 2 videos, or maybe even 3 for this channel. And I must have got distracted and that was the end of it. But we did do a couple of Lydia Davis's books. This is book 13, There Will Be Bodies. In the first century Rome, Flavia Albia, a daughter and successor to Marcus Debius Falco, is once again faced with uncovering the truth, quite literally. Only 10 years previous, Mount Venus erupted and rained ash down on about the Roman cities and towns along the Bay of Naples. But while some cities were destroyed, others were merely badly damaged, and the uncle of Flavia's husband seizes the opportunity to buy a villa cheap. It just has to be dug out of the ash and restored. And they dig out the building, but they also dig out the bodies that were in the building. It's like, I don't know. You don't want to really disturb someone's final resting place, do you? I don't know. I just don't know. A Resistance of Witches. I've been doing a Charmed binge. Massive Charmed binge. Watched the whole thing. Got almost to the end. And I love that end episode so much. It makes you cry. I said, screw it, I'm going back to the beginning, watch the whole thing over again so I don't have to face the fact that it did. A Resistance of Witches. Stubborn, plain-spoken, and from an unimpressive family, Lydia Pope never expected to be accepted into the Royal Academy of Witches. Now, with Hitler's army rampaging across Europe, the witches of Britain have joined the war effort, and Lydia is the key to the cause. She must use her magic to track down magical relics before Hitler and his psychopaths can. When a Nazi witch infiltrates the academy with heartbreaking consequences, the Covenant is left shaken, exposed, and divided. The elder British witches have no interest in further loss of Coven life in service of the government that forced them into hiding for decades, no matter the consequences to the world. But with the discovery of the Grimoire Bellum, an ancient book that leaves a trail of death and destruction wherever it goes, Lydia knows her mission has never been more urgent. If you had magical powers and you were a really good person and a good heart, shouldn't you use those powers to save a few lives? 1940 to 43, yes, years prior, yes, years after, but I'm telling you, billions of people lost their lives just because of a racist person, and we won't even go there now. Anyways, I have I have over here this, I believe, is book 1 or 2. Let's see. Yeah, this has got to be book 1. I am a hardened Sookie Stackhouse fan, and I asked her recently, will you ever do a Sookie? And she said no. And I am not a Gunny Rose fan, so I read like the first 1 or 2. There was a lot of Sookie in Gunny, but she had some other stuff that Sookie didn't. I just can't. I just will not. I'm gonna tell you about the newest book, The Last Wizard's Ball, book 6. Lisbeth Rose's sister Felicia attends the Grand Wizard's Ball as one of the most powerful and beautiful death wizards in a generation. She is highly sought after as one of the belles of the ball. However, war and violence are on the rise in Europe as German and Japanese wizards are also courting Felicia, and some are refusing to take no for an answer. Like I said, it's not for me. I'm a big Charlene Harris fan. I'm Sookie all the way. But anything else, I have the other ones too. The right in front of the candle. There you go. There you go. In front of the candle. There you go. In front of the candle. The Midnight in Texas. That even ended up on NBC for a couple of seasons. But it was just horrible. She did a meet and greet. It took me almost a year to read book 1. Once I got past the meet and greet, I finished the book in 15 minutes. But up until that point, it was up until chapter 11, 12, something like that. She'd walk across the street and talk to so-and-so, and then she'd talk to this person, and then she'd talk to that person, and then she'd talk to this person. And it was just a meet and greet. It reminded me of one of those Regencies where the two main characters get in the horse and carriage and they go through Hyde Park and they meet all the different individuals that will show up later in the book. it was just, good God. And it didn't do it. It lasted a couple of seasons on NBC, like I said, and then it was gone. All right, on to some happier times here. Dogged Pursuit, an Andy Carpenter mystery. David Rosenfeld. Andy Carpenter has spent 3 years since graduating law school working as a prosecutor in Paterson. But having seen how the system never looks out for the little guy, he leaves to start his own practice as a defense attorney. His office might be a little bit of a dump, but he's excited to make a change. Andy goes to the shelter to adopt a dog, where he meets his beloved golden terrier Tara for the first time and feels an immediate connection. The shelter is crowded, and Tara's been sharing space with a dog named Sunny. Andy hates to break them up, and so takes Sunny. But since there's a pending criminal investigation involving the owner, he needs to get written permission for temporary possession. Okay, there's a story there. I have seen quite a few books of this lady. We'll have to look into her. The #1 detective agency. It's been around a while. The Winds from Further West. Dr. Neil Anderson has started a new position at the University of Edinburgh, where he meets Chrissy, an intelligent and ambitious colleague at the Institute. Before long, the two move into a gorgeous flat on the south side of the city. Things will be going well for Neil until an accusation of insensitive comments lands him in hot water with the university, and he discovers a troubling secret about his relationship. Suddenly feeling as though his life is unraveling, he leaves everything behind for the remote and secluded beauty of the Isle of Mull off the seacoast of Scotland. Not long after his arrival, a ship comes in harbor whose cargo, 2 wolf cubs, will drastically change the course of his life yet again. Okay? Lisa Scottoline, we've done her quite a few times on Flashback Monday. Quite a few times. Lately, Julia Priska is beginning to think she's cursed. She's lost her adopted parents and her husband is murdered. When she realizes that her horoscope essentially foretold his death, she begins to spiral. She fears her fate is written in the stars, not held in her own hands. Then a letter arrives out of the blue informing her that she inherited a Tuscan villa in Vanya, but her benefactor is a total stranger named Amelia Rossi. Julia has no information about her biological parents, so she wonders if Rossi could be a blood relative. Bewildered, she heads for Tuscany for answers. There, Julie is horrified to discover that Rossi was a paranoid recluse with delusional grandeur who believed herself to be a descendant of the Duchess of Caterina, a legendary Renaissance ruler. Julia is stunned by her uncanny resemblance to Rossi and even to Caterina. Then she unearths eerie parallels between them, including a recession with astrology. Ugh. Ruth Ware, The Woman in Suite 11. When the invitation to attend the press opening of a luxury Swiss hotel owned by reclusive billionaire Marcus Liebman arrives, it's the answer to a prayer. 3 years after the birth of her youngest, Lo Blacklock is ready to establish her journalism career. But postpartum travel journalist is a very different landscape from the one she left 10 years ago. Post-pandemic, excuse me, I read it wrong. The chateau on the shores of Lake Geneva is everything Lo's ever dreamed of, and she hopes she can snag an interview with Marcus. Unfortunately, he's proven to be more difficult to pin down than his reputation suggests. When Lo gets a late-night call asking her to come to Marcus's hotel room, she disagrees despite her misgivings, and she's greeted by a woman claiming to be Marcus's mistress. Okay. The Aviator and the Showman, Amelia Earhart. Laurie Gwen Shapiro. Have you watched Voyager the 200? I think it's the 200. We'll have to do Voyager one day. Actually, we're going to be doing Voyager on the channel. 1928, a young social worker and hobby pilot named Amelia Earhart arrived in the office of George Putnam to heir to Putnam & Sons throne and hitmaker. On the hunt for the woman for a secret flying mission across the Atlantic, a partnership professional and soon otherwise was born. The aviator and the showman unreveals the untold story of Amelia's long decade marriage to George Putnam, offering an intimate explanation of the exploration of the relationship and the pivotal role he played during her legacy. Okay. Brad Thor, Edge of Honor. After 6 months abroad, America's top spy returns to a new administration, a set of global priorities, and a power struggle the likes of which the United States has never seen. Drawn into a web of deceit and deadly politics, Scott Harvest is thrust into a high-stakes period that could change the course of history. A cabal of shadowy elites maneuvering the control. If they succeed, they will bring the country to its knees. Daniel Silver, big man on campus, Mr. Silver. Gabriel Allon has awarded a commission to restore one of the most important paintings in Venice. But when he discovers the body of a mysterious woman floating on the rivers in the Venetian lagoon, he finds himself in a desperate race to recover a lost masterpiece by Leonardo da Vinci. The painting, a portrait of a beautiful young girl, has been gathering dust in a storeroom at the Vatican for more than a century. Misattributed and hidden beneath a worthless picture by an unknown artist, because no one knows that Leonardo is there. No one notices when it disappears one night during a suspicious power outage. No one but the ruthless mobsters and the money men behind the theft, and the mysterious woman whom Gabriel found in a watery grave in Venice, without a name, without a face. And that is our July new releases. Does anything seem interesting? We know what I won't be reading. Yes! Put on a video of July new releases and talk about what you won't read. Okay. Hey, if you want to check out the first one, check out the first one. It's just not for me. It is just not for me. Have a good one.